Fala galera, estamos aqui em COTA, Circuito das Américas, para a terceira etapa aqui do ano. E estamos aqui com o meu carro novo, o Acura Integra Type ESTE TCX pela HRC Honda Racing. E eu quero mostrar para vocês um pouco mais do nosso carro. O carro aí tem 350 cavalos, motor turbo, feito pela HRC no Japão e trago para cá pela HRC América do Norte. É muito legal o carro, muito forte. E na parte aqui de pneu, a gente tem um pneu do Pirelli Slick DHHB, 265 de medida, então um pneu bem largo para o carro, muita gripe, na freada principalmente, sente bastante. E falando de freio, a gente tem também um freio aqui da AP Racing, muito forte o freio, que conta com um sistema aí de ABS desenvolvido pela Bosch e a Honda HRC. Então tem muitos ajustes aí, 12 ajustes no volante, dá para mexer para quando tá chovendo, quando tá com menos gripe, mais gripe. E aqui temos nosso cockpit, todos os comandos no carro que eu posso mexer durante a corrida, durante o treino. O principal aqui, obviamente, os paddle shifters, então isso aqui muda a marcha que a gente está, aqui reduz a marcha e aqui sobe. Também temos aqui o botão de PTT, que para resumir o botão do rádio, eu aperto aqui e eu consigo falar com os engenheiros, mecânicos, meus coaches, tudo mais durante a prova. Aqui reseta o painel, se tiver algum problema no painel, ele desligar, um comando errado, eu aperto aqui, ele reseta, reinicia. Aqui é a marcação do carro, então vamos falar que tem algum problema na pressão de combustível, algo do tipo que eu vejo que está errado, eu aperto aqui e ele marca. E quando for ver a telemetria depois com os engenheiros, fica bem fácil de achar onde foi o problema e ver realmente o que foi. Aqui é a página do painel, a gente tem pressão de freio, suspensão, dados do motor, GPS, temperatura de água, combustível, câmbio, as configurações que estamos de controle de tração e de motor, tudo mais passa por aqui para trocar as páginas. Aqui temos o botão de velocidade, que limita o carro em 50 km por hora durante o box, para não passar da velocidade de limite. Temos aqui o botão de neutro, então quando estamos de primeira marcha, para entrar no neutro a gente aperta neutro e para baixo, que entra em neutro, e mais uma vez para entrar em ré. Aqui é o botão de bebida, a gente não usa, mas tem como usar para beber água durante a prova. Aqui também temos controle de tração e temos 9 ajustes para mexer no controle de tração. A gente anda geralmente com pouco. Temos o ABS aqui, que temos 12 ajustes para cada lado, 6 para cada, total de 12. Então isso aí ajusta muito o feeling do ABS e como funciona o freio. E aqui na direita temos o botão do Cool Shirt, que acaba que é uma camisa que bomba água gelada para resfriar o piloto na prova quente. Temos aquecedor de para-brisa, temos luz de chuva, ignição, chave geral, reset de combustível, algumas funções aí para a equipe usar e junto comigo. E aqui embaixo temos o sistema de fogo, que a gente aperta o botão para apagar o fogo. E também temos o controle do Cool Shirt, que ele consegue escolher a temperatura exata da água bombando pela camisa. Também temos o rádio aqui embaixo, que a gente ajusta aí o volume do rádio que eu preciso. E é isso nosso carro, tudo que a gente mexe na corrida. Acaba que é bastante coisa, mas tudo é utilizado para melhorar a performance. Vamos aqui para trás do carro, que tem nossa asa, que é a parte da aerodinâmica. Essa asa fibra de carbono pela ARP. E é uma asa que a gente dá muito pouco aerodinâmica. Você vê que a gente deixa ela positiva, então acaba que ela gera pouco downforce, que é nosso objetivo. A gente não quer muito downforce na traseira, por ser um carro tração dianteira, a gente quer a traseira mais solta e ajuda a rotacionar o carro nas curvas de baixa principalmente. Também aqui atrás temos nosso escape da borla. É um escape de 3 saídas, tem um barulho muito bacana. O original do carro já é 3 saídas, mas esse aqui é um pouco diferente, que ele não tem restrição do motor para fora. Então é um escape basicamente reto, só com abafador. E é isso, conto aí com o apoio de vocês, vamos para cima.
Good, man.
You can film it all you want.
Tell Celso,
What's
don't
up,
break
brother?
the front bumper. I'm not here to fix. Tell him.
I've already had to fix this one twice. Please don't add to my list again. What is it? An under tray came out of the other one too.
Oh yeah?
I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
I'm trying to not look at it. I don't want to touch the tape yet. But
They follow you.
It's gonna happen. How'd he do?
Look, it started getting there. Same side.
God, am I gonna have to paint it again?
Yes.
All right, it just takes a square of white vinyl and another Pirelli sticker.
Easy.
That's all it is.
Easy.
That's all it is. I'm not looking at it.
Leave it for Indy.
I don't work for you guys.
Calvin, some smoke out of the 22.
Yeah, that's not good news there for Celso Neto. He certainly put the pressure on Chris Walsh for qualifying this morning and the pole, but there's a lot of smoke coming out of that Integra right now.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look ideal, but we'll see if it gets worse or goes away. Either way, I think it's not a good start to the race for the 22, but here we go, line astern here for the TCX field as they wait for the green flag to fly for the 40 minutes here. And the safety car has been deployed, and it looks like we will not get a green flag, Calvin.
Yeah, well, green actually is out, so Chris Walsh has actually got the fire here, and he's got to the pole. It looks like Lucas Catania making a big move down to the inside on Celso Neto. Let's just wait and see how that smoke evolves there. He's still got it as he powers down the hill into turn 2. Well, Celso certainly had some pace in qualifying. Chris Walsh had to dig deep very late in this session, grab that pole position. But right now, it looks like Lucas Catania is in that battle with Celso Neto, and that's allowing Chris Walsh to escape a little bit and start to dominate this race, as we've seen so far this season, gone 4 in a row and look for 5 straight to start this 2024 campaign.
Tracking very tightly behind Lucas Catania into the S's. You don't have a great sight line there when you're following another car that closely. You have to be careful not to shortcut the S's. That's a place that race control would like you to stay in bounds and keep the ball on the court there. It's very difficult when your car is full of a BMW M2 out the windshield.
It really is, really important corner. S's slow down there right for turn 9, then you just leap back on the power. Flat out through this one. This is turn 10. Then you plunge down the hill. You can see we've had 4 areas of the racetrack that have been resurfaced this year, and this is one of them, kind of from the exit of turn 9 all the way down and through this brake zone and the exit of turn 11.
Yeah, that smoother pavement and certainly grippier as well with that fresh asphalt, so the braking performance is probably there, making drivers a bit braver into those hairpin corners. That could get exciting throughout this race, but look at the battle beginning to form. It's that Aaron Kaplan in the 18, and then Cooper Brohl right behind in that yellow, white, and black Acura Integra.
That we're now looking at.
2 seconds out front for Chris Walsh, and Amanda Busick's on the pit lane with an update about Celso Neto. Amanda?
Yeah, just quickly, I know we saw that smoke from Celso Neto ahead of the race. I went over to Skip Barber, and they gave me a thumbs up and said that he's just racing with new brake pads, so should be able to settle into this race and give a fight.
Well, what may have happened if they put new brake pads in, he may have been trying to bed those in on those formation labs and maybe overheated them a little bit, so it could have been coming from the rotors themselves, and maybe things have cooled down now.
Oh, slide in front. Is that Lucas Catania that's gone for a spin? It is at turn 19 out of second place, Calvin.
Yeah, all by himself there. It's really a high-speed approach there. I love the sequence of corners coming into turn 19, but you suddenly throw the car in there and he just lost the rear.
And he's stuck kind of in the runoff area, so he can't drive forward because he'll rejoin the racetrack right in front of everybody else. So he might be stuck there for a moment. So shake it off and get back rolling with Lucas Catania. So Chris Walsh, his gap is still now 3 seconds over Celso Neto, and very good that that was a brake-related issue, and obviously with that cleared now, the pace is right on par with what we anticipated out of the 22 Skip Barber Racing School car.
All pretty much integrated into the team. But Celso Neto up front went purple in sector 1, so he's got some pace in that Integra. wait and see how that develops for the TCX lead.
And he has the CrowdStrike fastest lap for the moment, and perhaps no surprise with the gap that he's been able to pull on Celso Neto in the 22.
Yeah, he's got about 3/4 of a second in hand over Celso's pace. Now everything's sort of settled in here a little bit. Tires are well up to temperature by now, and he's just doing what he's been doing all year. He's just been flawless. And looking for 5 straight on the bounce.
Looks like the 22's got a problem, not the drive that we'd expect out of turn 15 there, Calvin. A little off pace, and the time continues to go away from the 22 Skip Barber Racing School Acura. Things are not going the right direction for him.
No, he's way off the pace right now. We saw that smoke on the formation lap, which we believe was from him bedding in some brake pads, and that seemed to go away, but now he's definitely off the pace. Let's see if he heads for pit lane.
Lost about 10 seconds in that middle sector and slowly working his way to the pit lane. Will come to the attention of the Skip Barber Racing School team, of course, coming to grips with this new car, and the pace has been there as far as his pace in the race, but keeping it throughout the event has kind of been the challenge for them, but certainly something amiss. I'm not really sure that we've seen a fair 1v1 fight yet, because Lucas has also spent a lot of time fighting the 22 as Celso Neto at the beginning of races at Sebring and Sonoma. Here's a great look that'll show us potentially where some of the advantages are for the Acura Integra, for example. Celso Neto quicker in Sector 1.
Yeah, no, so it's not a dominant all the way around the racetrack, but again, sometimes you'll set the car up to be compromised a little bit in one area of the racetrack to give the overall lap time. So, and again, he's not being pushed hard. I'm sure he's aware that Catania's only a couple of tenths off his best lap of the day, and that will give you pole position for tomorrow. So maybe he's got a little left in the tank in case he needs to respond. And we don't see many yellows in TC America, but if you should, you don't want to have used the car up and then you got nothing to defend with if we should have a shootout at the end of a race.
This 22 of Celso Neto up into turn 1 with Lucas Catania. Big bunny hop into turn 1 in the brakes. That was pretty exciting stuff. A little pushing and shoving there, Cal, as they work their way through turn 1.
Yeah, big concern there was obviously the smoke as well from Celso Neto. That you can see even before the start there, everyone felt he was in trouble, but he did have pace for the first phase of the race at least.
They're doing the best. Yesterday, 2 o'clock in the morning. Today, hopefully,
Before dark.
before dark, yeah.
I normally for that box, but we're good. Okay. But I normally.
Reference some of the mechanical woes for the Acuras and TCX. Understand there were transmission issues, specifically with Celso Neto.
Right.
We saw a lot of smoke out of that car in race number 1, but the hope is that all that will be repaired. We will see as we get ready to go for race number 2. That's the TCX class, BMWs and Acuras. Side by side, of course, in that expanding class, but also cars in the TC and TCA divisions that we'll be keeping a close eye on. Jeff Rica, he's coming here this weekend to Circuit of the Americas on a mission because he had to miss these races last year, had commitments with Hyundai overseas at the Nürburgring, and as a consequence, missed out on scoring points here, and that ultimately had a large part to play in him not winning the championship a year ago. Walsh waiting to go as he gets in that zone. Waiting. Now he goes with a push from behind from Celso Neto. Chris Walsh goes to the point. Neto comes up the inside of Catania. Whoa, big moment there for Walsh. He's able to gather it back up, though, and he hangs on to the lead.
Wow, that was a great bit of car control there. You can
Celso Neto right there, splitting the two BMWs, running in second place.
Yeah, just an awesome start there by Neto. Just glued himself to the tail of Chris Walsh, and he's probably had a good look at Walsh's moment there up into the brake zone for turn one. Everyone keeps it nice and clean. Lucas Catania had a little spin early in the race yesterday, but seemed to have great pace, so let's see what he can do as this race develops here. Came to the line, just the car absolutely seemed like it was almost on fire, the amount of smoke we saw from the start of the race yesterday for Celso Neto.
Celso Neto just turned in the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race. His lead over Chris Walsh in TCX is 1.2 seconds, which makes this the battle to keep an eye on here in the TC. Back to the TCX field now, where Celso Neto holds the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race, but Chris Walsh has been the quickest on the track each of the past few laps. Actually, that just changed. Lucas Catania just took the new CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race as he chases down this top two. Look at Walsh starting to disappear off into the distance, and for Lucas Catania then, that means it's time to go on the attack. He needs to get around Celso Neto to keep the leader within striking distance.
He does. And that could be a problem because Celso Neto is a fighter. You can see the spirited drive that he has behind the wheel of that Integra. Chris Walsh looking like he's hitting his marks, looking really smooth here, looking for his 6th win on the season, undefeated as you mentioned, Ryan.
As you can see on screen, this is the fight for second. Celso Neto has it. Lucas Catania, well, you'd like it in this context, but I think he's tired of being second.
It just means he's super consistent. He's there every single weekend. It's been that way for 3 seasons now. Got a win here last year, had 7 runner-up finishes in 2023. The victory came here, so happy memories. Look at that Integra. I mean, Celso absolutely flies through that little squirt of acceleration between turns 19 and 20, but he's really overloading that right front when he does that. Chris Walsh leading, see Celso Neto still got decent pace, but they dropped away a little bit. So Chris Walsh with clean air has taken off a little bit. Dominant season so far, really done an excellent job and controlled things nicely. I think the biggest thing he controlled was that entry at turn 1 on the opening lap, Ryan. That was a wild ride that he had there up into that brake zone.
That's a good point. This race could have totally disappeared for Chris Walsh on that first lap, but he was able to make the save, settled in line, and has been able to take the lead once again. However, the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race belongs to this white BMW of Lucas Catania. He has run down Celso Neto, but has yet to solve this riddle. Hasn't been able to put a move on the Integra yet. Let's take a look at this battle here as they approach the traffic, and as we do so, we'll check in with the pits with Amanda.
Ryan, yeah, I'll keep an eye on this battle too. I'll get out of it if things develop. Just talking with Skip Barber, you know, the struggles that they had yesterday, their work gearbox replaced overnight in Celso Neto's machine. They, you know, stress that this is still a new platform, new format for them. So I think, you know, just a nice finishing position would be good for that Acura and for that Skip Barber team. And when it goes...
Lucas Catania is still trying to sort out a solution here to this puzzle of Celso Neto. He's been thinking about how he can dive down the inside, that really slow left-hander, turn 15 on that infield section there, but can't quite open the door. They can open here on Celso Neto.
Back into the second spot. Just a few moments ago, trying to hang on for another 6 minutes. This is a good part of the track for that Acura. This is how the move was made, Cal.
Well, Celso Neto, when he's trying to work against Chris Walsh, would pick the middle of the road. And we talked about a bit more rubber down on the racing line, which is driver's right. And Lucas did a beautiful job of managing that. But Celso Neto was not letting him go. Now we're climbing the hill up into turn 1. He looks to the inside, peeks to the inside. Lucas brakes late enough to maintain that position. Beautiful race between these two guys.
It certainly is. And I'll say too, you know, Amanda pointed out that this still is a very new platform, this Acura Integra that you see racing here But with each passing weekend, that car and this driver, this team, they look more and more comfortable with it. They're extracting more out of it. I don't think it'll be too much longer until we see them winning a race or two.
Curious to watch it. I know it's getting late in the game and only 5 minutes left. He's not going to catch Chris Walsh unless Chris has an issue. But just to see what sort of pace here Lucas Catania has compared to our leader, because he was very strong late in the going yesterday.
That's true. Here we go. Provisional results. Chris Walsh at the top of the table yet again. Catania's second, 5.7 seconds adrift, and it's Celso Neto who gave that Acura a great run. He led the first half of the race before fading late.
Chris, I have a feeling that there's going to be some satisfaction in this one, not only battling yourself, but also battling Celso Neto out there. I want to go back to lap 1. How did you regain your composure to get ready for the rest of the race?
Yeah, the crew told me that Celso was on stickers, and I know that the tires come in really well for the Acura early on, so I was like, man, I'm going to have to, it's going to be a dogfight for the first, 5 to 10 laps of the race, and it's exactly what it was. So Celso is the minister of defense probably of Brazil. It's incredible what he was putting up and amazing defense moves, but yeah, overall, just hung in there because I knew eventually the car might fade, and if I just was right there, I could make a move. He made a mistake into turn 1, and yeah, that's all she wrote from there. So
I was talking to Honda, and they feel week by week this Acura platform is getting just better and better. Their hopes are by the time we get to VIR that it's going to have quite a bit of threat to the BMWs. Have you noticed that in the evolution between these weekends?
yeah, I like any new platforms, be a little teething issues. So they're getting better and better. The car's becoming more reliable. It's fast. So it's fun because it's creating competition, and I'm enjoying that part of it. So Celso's a really good driver, and it was a fun battle for a while, and Catania was right there as well. So that's kind of what you're hoping for in racing. But yeah, it's going to be good.